Welcome to another episode of In Your Business. Today, we're going to learn from an entrepreneur in Newcastle, Indiana. Newcastle is in Henry County, very close to Richmond, Indiana, where we film from. But today, we're going to have the pleasure to meet a new entrepreneur. When I say new, in the last 5 years, Jennifer Barnett. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Jennifer, today is going to be kind of exciting for me because I'm going to get to know you, learn a little bit more about you as an entrepreneur, but then I'm also going to get to know a little bit about the business. And so I'm looking forward to sharing with you and you sharing with us and just letting us learn a little bit more about what you're doing in Newcastle. So if you don't mind sharing with us, did you grow up in the Newcastle area?
I did. I have lived in Newcastle my entire life.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know if I need to tell how long that is, but yes, born native of Newcastle.
Okay, good. Good for you. So when you were just a child going to school there in Newcastle, what were you thinking about? What were you wanting to do when you grew up?
I've had several different dreams of what I was going to do when I grew up, and they actually started with I always wanted to have my own store. So here we are with that. But
Okay.
my real passion was fashion design. And that is what I started doing. I love to draw. I did art classes, several different projects, different groups that did art stuff, different art things. But I started my first fashion design business with my best friend in 5th grade. And we called it AJ Brooks Fashion Design. And they were crayon drawings of outfits that we created. And I was very fortunate to have my parents and my grandmas nurturing what I wanted to do. And in fact, they let me, I would say sew. I kind of learned to sew at an early age, and I would take old prom dresses or different outfits that my grandmas had around, and I would cut them and I would design them into different outfits. So that kind of led my path through the first, all through high school, through college, even the first 14 years I was out in the workforce was all based around fashion. But I knew the end goal was to have my own store. So that dream kind of took a different shape as I got older. But that's what I had gone to school for. I went to Purdue University and Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City for fashion design. So that was the original dream.
So you started in 5th grade. What got you started? Was it just you and your friend just having a good time?
I think it was the art background, just liking to draw. I've always loved to do portraits of people and do the form, the body. And then fashion was a thing. I would see something that we liked and we thought, oh, we could draw that, we could make that. And so that kind of became our little 5th grade project business. Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So again, like you just said, you carried that on through, and then you graduated from high school. And at the end of that, that's when you went on to Purdue. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. I graduated from Newcastle in 1999. And then I went to Purdue University in their apparel design program. And one of the years that I was there, I kind of did I don't want to say study abroad because it was in New York City, but I went to FIT and studied there for a year, and those credits transferred back to Purdue. Okay. So the people that I was learning from, the books I was learning out of at Purdue were actually my professors at FIT.
Okay, now when you say FIT, that's probably short for something, right?
Yeah, Fashion Institute of Technology, and that's in Manhattan. And if you want to know a fun little side fact, interesting, I moved there 2 weeks before 9/11 in 2001.
As a college student?
As a college student. So I was there when the towers were hit.
Were you scared?
It was a terrifying time. Of all the things that we imagine that could happen, my mom's fears of me living in a big city, world terrorism was one of the we never considered. So it was a different year, I feel like, in Manhattan. There was a lot of camaraderie and people coming together like it was through everyone in the United States at that time. But yeah, it was kind of a surreal experience that we were there that day. Yeah.
I can only imagine, but at the same time, what an experience for you to have. And then also you spent an entire year there. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. My junior year of college, I was at the Fashion Institute for that year studying.
And then you came back to Indiana and finished there at Purdue. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Senior year at Purdue.
Upon graduating, what happened then?
Graduating, I moved back to my hometown of Newcastle. I realized, because I'd always had wanted to live in New York City, but I realized after my year there that I'd like to say you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. I just had a lot of good hometown support. My roots were here, and I love the experience that I had in New York, but I knew it wasn't where I was going to end up living for the rest of my life. So moving back to Newcastle, I had odds and end jobs, all centered around different art backgrounds. I worked for a graphic design place that we did vinyl installations for signs and really trophies, awards. So I got to do the graphic design part of that. And then, like I said, for the first year after college, I was kind of just finding my roots. And then that's when I started in retail. So I was an assistant manager at a store in Cleveland, Ohio, and that lasted about a year. And then I became employed with H&M, the Swedish-based company. They were opening up in Indianapolis, so I moved back to Indianapolis and had a 12-year career with them, with various different positions within the company. So again, it was still that creative art and fashion background that I was still going after at that point.
Okay, so then at some point we made a transition back to Newcastle.
Yes,
to actually
yes,
start your own business.
Yes, we did. Let's see, after several years of traveling, I set up lots of different stores with H&M. I did 4 pop-up stores and new stores in Texas. So I spent some time there with them, and then lived in the Indianapolis area, became their district visual manager. And so I had stores all throughout the Midwest that I oversaw basically the look of the stores, the mannequins, the windows, how things were merchandised. And I was traveling 5 days a week. Like I would leave, my home base was in Newcastle at that point. And I was traveling Monday through Friday. So I lived in an apartment, but I was gone throughout the week. And then in that time span also, when I was a district visual manager, I met my husband, Kevin, who's also from Newcastle, and we got married. So I decided that traveling wasn't something that I wanted to do long term. I'd done it for about 2 years. So we ended up buying our first house in Newcastle after we got married, and still did the commute with H&M, was back locally at one of their Indianapolis stores. And that kind of brings me into where I am sitting now in the Barnett Company. I started doing cookies as a side hobby for some friends. And it got to the point where I was, working 40 hours a week in Indianapolis and doing the cookies at home for friends and different things at night. And there was a lot of overlap. There was about 3 years of overlap where I was doing both, still had my full-time job, but was doing cookies out of my home just for friends and word of mouth kind of reference.
So it was just kind of a side thing. People said, hey, we like this. And obviously the volume just started getting larger and larger. Is that kind of the inspiration for what you're doing today?
It is. It got to be, my husband and I sat down and I said, okay, I feel like that we could actually make a go of the business. I feel like I have enough, customer base, and that we know enough people in our hometown that are supporting me. And at that point, I was working about 70 to 80 hours a week between doing cookies and doing my full-time job, plus that commute back and forth to Indianapolis. So we talked about it. We ran the numbers. I was ready. Let's go. Let's do it. He's a little bit more practical. Like, is it really going to work? But we did take that leap. And at that time, I have friends that own the business. They were rehabbing the building that I'm sitting in now here downtown, and they were looking for a vendor to come in and start, grow their business here in Newcastle. So that connection worked out, and we took the plunge.
Okay. So what year was it that you moved into the location?
It was 2017.
So in 2017, you leased the location.
At least the location.
Moved in. Now it's called Barnett Company. Is that correct?
Yes, the Barnett Company.
So the Barnett Company, LLC. And yet we were talking about cookies and baked goods.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that the majority of the business is the baking. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. We are 90% cookie based sales in the store.
Okay. And I will admit, I've tried them and the cookies are fantastic. The brownies
Thank
are
you.
wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
so amazing job. But the front of the store, when you walk in, you're going to find the display of the baked goods, the
Yeah.
cookies, the brownies. Are there baked goods that I'm leaving off? What do you do?
You've got the majority of it there. Every day that we're open, we have what we call case cookies, and those are designed on the theme of whatever holiday season, weather season, and anything special events that we have going on. So you can find our chocolate chip cookies, which are milk chocolate chip, chocolate chunk cookies, which are semi-sweet, a brownie, a really chewy, gooey brownie. And what started the whole thing was the designer sugar cookies. So this is a soft baked sugar cookie decorated with royal icing. And we have those in the case currently Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday during our open hours.
Very good. Well, that's what kind of introduced me to you, is the fact that I received a cookie. It was like a Hollywood cookie for something that I had done. And the cookie was great.
Thank you.
And so to be able to make a business out of that is wonderful. Now, in addition to the baked goods, you also have a retail shop.
Yes. And that is why the name of the store is the Barnett Company, the Barnett Co., because it isn't, I didn't want to name it just after bakery, even though that's 90% of what we do. I also have a small retail gift shop in our building. We carry lots of different gifts, little fun knickknack things that you can come in and find. I personally have an obsession with dishes and different serving platters. So I do carry a lot of that as my inventory. You can probably see behind me here, it's my Happy Everything display. That is one of my #1 sellers. We are actually zip code protected with that. So you can find it in Newcastle. The closest location that sells that is in Noblesville, would be the closest location to here. And then I do have a collection of Ray Dunn. That is also a collector's item for different people. And then other things that we do, seasonal holiday dish towels, those are really big sellers. And then anything decorative that you can find in your home. We have really fun metal signs, cute little wall sayings, vases. Really, the list goes on. It's an eclectic mix. And I don't, other than the Ray Dunn and the Happy Everything, I don't keep the same inventory all year long. It's just something that we find that we pick up, we think people would like. Occasionally I'll do a reorder if it's a big seller, but I like to keep the inventory fresh so people are finding unique gifts every time they come in.
Okay. So it's kind of fun because we know a little bit about the business. I'm assuming in the back is a kitchen. Is that correct?
That is. So everything that we do here, everything that we bake is made in-house. I have a kitchen assistant that when I hired her, we thought, oh, she might work, 10, 12 hours a week. She is definitely a 40-hour-a-week employee. She is the one that makes all of our dough for our chocolate chip, chocolate chunk, the brownies, and then she rolls out all of my sugar cookie dough and cuts it. So she really is completely invaluable. Like I could not do this without her assistance.
So it's great because you've got the scratch kitchen, and then you've got the retail, and then you've got the bakery for the goods. Now, the one thing that's interesting is when I speak with entrepreneurs is to really get to know the business, because you are the entrepreneur. Okay. It's yours. You are responsible for it all the time. And I know when I say the word entrepreneur, sometimes people are like, what? But you are the entrepreneur. What's that like to have all that responsibility, if you will?
It kind of goes two ways. Yes, it is all on me. I'm the final decision maker on everything that we do in the store and for the business. I'm very fortunate to have, like I said, again, very supportive parents, family, community backing. So it kind of just felt like a natural transition in from what I was doing on a friend base into a customer base, just on a lot larger level. And we're still working out the kinks. We're 3.5 years in, and we have a lot of things that run really smoothly, but there's always room for improvement. So as far as being the entrepreneur, I have lots of ideas, things that sometimes timing, it doesn't work out, that we could do to expand the store. That's a big question that I get frequently is, are you guys going to expand and be able to grow? Right now, nestled in our 12-foot wide, 72-foot long building is about as much business as I can handle without expanding my employees as well. I love, this is why I went into my own business, is why I became an entrepreneur. I spent 12 years creating someone else's vision. And I knew, from when I was a little girl, that I wanted to have my own business, my own store, and it was going to be a bridal boutique. Like I said, things change. But I worked for 12 years for H&M, and it taught me so much working for them, working for this huge multi-million-dollar company. But I was able to take those things that I learned in that 12 years, apply them to what I'm doing on a much smaller level. But those basics of the business, they've stuck with me this entire time. But it's nice knowing that this is my vision. When people come in, they're seeing what I see, what my creations are through the cookies and through the retail. So it makes you proud. I mean, I'm not just to see that it come to life. The ideas that I have are here, and they're real place, they're real business, and a pretty successful one.
Well, I can tell that you're very passionate about it and you're very proud of it, as you should be.
Thank you.
So it's a lot of work. And how many employees do you have, Jennifer?
Technically, just myself and Kirsten that works for me as my kitchen assistant. I do have a wonderful volunteer from my mom. She has been with me since I was making these at my own kitchen table,
Okay.
5 years ago. She's been there since the beginning. As far as designing, every cookie that comes out of here, I have personally designed. Now, my mom comes in, she'll help me flood the cookies. Excuse me. So sugar cookies all have an outline, and they have a flood as a base, and then the design goes on top of those. So she comes in, she helps me flood. I have a art teacher that is getting ready to go into retirement, and she's been with me for like the last 2 years, helping me out in my really busy times. So, it might just be a couple hours a week. So she's in here, and I've definitely recruited my mother-in-law. My husband has flooded cookies. He's rolled cookie dough. I mean, we're truly a family business. I mean, if those busy times, if I need the help, they're all willing to jump in and help me. So I'm not up. Well, I'm still up all night decorating cookies.
Sure. Well, it's very interesting to hear, because what happens is I asked the question about the number of employees, and I'm so glad that you were not able to be definitive and say this number, because
No.
obviously you use the resources that you have, and that's
Yes.
great. And it is truly a family business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the things that I teach at the university when it comes to business is things like setting the prices, setting the hours, what products and services to offer. So you have to make choices. Your facility is not really large. I
No,
mean,
not at all.
how do you make those decisions? Because even pricing, for example.
Well, if we're talking about, let's talk about the cookies. The hardest thing is to price on those, because every cookie is not the same. I have to give a generalized, every order that I take it depends on size, and it depends on design. So with those, like, I have a standard that we go by, it's a medium sized cookie. It's a simple design, it's $2. The more detail we get, the bigger cookie we get, the more icing colors I have to make. The more intricate detail. And if it has to be hand drawn, like if I can't find a cutter that shape, and I'm literally, freehanding, 4 dozen of the same. There's been a lot of Star Wars here lately that I haven't had the cutter. So if I'm freehanding 40 baby Yodas, then your price is going to go up, because it's a lot more of my time. So those are it's all based on inspiration pictures. People show me things on Pinterest. They send me pictures of their invitations to bridal showers, baby showers, weddings, and then we base the price off of that. And all the behind the scenes of that is my cost of, the ingredients. So my finding the best ingredients. I use real pure vanilla extract. I don't use imitation. So that led me to a Costco membership, because it was my absolute best source for pricing. We source from big box stores as far as the sugar, the flour, all that comes through. And then there's a lot of last minute trips to Kroger and Walmart when we run out of things. So it all that is based into that price of the cookie. And then as far as the merchandise, I try to keep a price point for everyone. Like, we have things that go from, $2.95 in the store up to $200 in the store. So with that, I try to find a little something that anyone can come in and buy, no matter what their price point is that they're shopping for.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about your hours. First, what they are, but then how you set the hours.
The hours currently are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that is open door, come in, shop the retail. We have cookies in the case, starting at 10 a.m. I mean, that's a fine balance right there. Is like, if I always tell people I'd be a rich woman if I could say how many people are going to come in and buy cookies every single day. I don't like leftovers. I don't want to sell second day. So I try to time it so people are getting a fresh cookie that has either been made that morning or with the sugar cookies the day before. So usually I time it, and we may run out, early afternoon. So if you're coming for cookies, come early. That way we can guarantee that. And those hours, I also do special orders on Tuesdays for pickup, and special orders for Saturdays on pickup. And these are my COVID hours that we have currently. I first opened, I was Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, but we have scaled that back a little bit. And I found that over the last year with COVID, even being open, just 3 days a week and still accommodating those special orders, our business hasn't suffered from it. If people want the product, they're still going to find a way to come and get it.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that you really haven't suffered, through that. So
Yeah.
a lot of small businesses have.
Yeah, and it was an adjustment. I mean, we don't have to go too much into the year of 2020, but
Right.
I wasn't able to sell merchandise, so that I upped the cookie sales in 2020. We offered curbside. Kirsten and I were running out, taking deliveries. We had the mobile payment device. We were scanning it right there at the car, wearing masks. And I did a lot of innovative DIY kits where people were taking cookie kits home with the icing bags and the cookies to their kids or whoever wanted to decorate. And we offered a lot more of the do-it-yourself type of thing, and just to keep the business going, because all my traditional graduation parties, birthdays, those big gatherings, they weren't doing them.
Sure.
The minute that the county shut down, all of those things got canceled, and that that lasted well throughout the summer. So we had to be creative with what we were doing, but we went through it, and I'm happy to say that we had just as good as year in 2020 as we did in 2019 by making those adjustments.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. That just speaks to your success as an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
You made the successful, adjustments. So
Mhm.
now, what percentage of your business is outside of the store? So like doing such as catering, if you will, and such.
Well, my licensing is just for cookies. It's just a bakery license.
Okay.
So as far as outside of the store, I mean, the only thing I guess I really do outside of the store is we do event planning also. So that's why it falls in that umbrella of, I hope I'm answering what you're asking here.
Yes.
That falls under that umbrella of the Barnett Company, not just a bakery. So the cookies, I've said in the past, are kind of my glorified business card. People will come in, order cookies for a graduation open house. They realize that I will set up your entire event, do all your decorating, and then the tear down. And they came in for cookies, and we planned their entire party. And I've done that for weddings as well. So with that, that's my external part, that goes outside of these four walls.
Wow, that's exciting. But along the same lines of excitement, let's talk about being that entrepreneur. What is the biggest reward that you recognize as an entrepreneur?
Biggest reward. You might have me stumped here. There's so many of them. Let me try to pick the best. I don't want to say celebrity, but I love that the quality of my product that goes out, and that I'm kind of known in Newcastle as the cookie lady. And if I can, it happens 2 or 3 times a week to me or a family member. And, it comes up in conversation that it's a tell when it's like 2 people out that they don't even know. We'll get a compliment about the cookies, about the business. And then my husband will be like, oh, that's my wife's company. And I love hearing that. I love hearing that positive feedback from the community. And it's that sense of pride that, my product is out there, even though our only advertisement is Facebook and Instagram and word of mouth, that the community is getting that product and pleased with it. And I love hearing that, come back to me, but by third person. They're not coming in directly, but they're hearing it third person out there. So that's really rewarding to know that what we're doing is reaching the people, and it's a happy store. Cookies make people happy. So yeah,
sure. But I think it also goes along with the service you're providing as well. So I mean, it's a happy place as well as a happy product and service. So let's talk about the hours though, because you said when you were working a full-time job, you're putting in a lot of hours.
Yes.
I'm guessing you're still putting in a lot of hours.
Yeah, that hasn't changed, but I guess it's a little different when you're working for yourself and not working for someone else. You're building those hours, to send your own product out the door. So my hours personally, it's definitely a 40+ hour week. Now, a lot of my hours happen outside of the business hours. My store closes at 4. That doesn't mean that I'm done at 4. I'm lucky if I ever get done at 4. So as far as Kirsten, I said she's here 40 hours a week. I have a 2-year-old son, so that kind of changed the dynamic. He was born a year after the store opened. So when I first opened, I was the one here at 6:30 in the morning, decorating, doing everything, and working side by side with Kirsten. Now she is the one that comes in and gets everything open for me at 8:30, and then we open at 10, and she works until 5, and then I call it B shift, basically, is what I work. So once I get my son to daycare or whatever we're doing for that day, I come in and I work, from 10 to 5. 10 to 7, go home, dinner break. And there's about 3 nights a week where I come back and I work till at least 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And it's a 2-person operation. It's gratifying. I'm tired a lot of the time. So, but it's still gratifying because it's my product. We're the ones putting it out there. It has my name on it.
Jennifer, I think you just exemplify entrepreneurship in every way.
Yes.
Thank you for doing
It's
such a
not a
wonderful
9 to 5
job.
ever.
Nope, I get it. I know.
No.
But I'll tell you, you're doing a great job with it. So
Thank you.
this concludes another episode of In Your Business. And I'll tell you, today we met with an entrepreneur from Newcastle, Indiana, Barnett Company. And they've got a wonderful bakery. I would encourage you to go out and experience it, but to meet Jennifer as well, because her true passion is entrepreneurship in every way. Apologize for any glitches we may have. We're all going through the pandemic. We're doing this from home. We're relying on internet services at both ends. So occasionally we do have some glitches, but again, thank you for watching another great episode of In Your Business. Thank you, Jennifer, for a great afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much.